Basil, no more. Just enough time for me to say good day and how...
Really, Harry, I'd rather you... Oh, Parker.
Mr. Dorian Gray, sir.
Right, of course, yes. Show him in. Dorian! Allow me to introduce an old friend from my Oxford days. Lord Henry Wotton, Mr. Dorian Gray.
How do you do?
How do you do? Basil didn't mention...
Oh, don't mind me. I made a stop by uninvited. I hadn't realized you were Basil's latest muse.
I was just telling Harry what a capital city you were.
I am.
You know, it's funny. Where I go these days, yours is the name I hear. I believe you know my aunt, Lady Agatha.
Oh, yes, no, I know her very well.
You're clearly one of her favourites. Got him abroad in one of her philanthropic endeavours in the East End, I hear.
Yes.
Playing Chopin to waifs and strays, isn't it?
And Schumann.
And Schumann. How marvellous.
Though I fear I'm in her black books at present. I promised to go with her to a club in Whitechapel last Tuesday, and I quite forgot all about it. We were to have played together 3 duets, I believe. She must be awfully angry with me.
Well, I'll put in a good word for you. Besides, I doubt the audience in Whitechapel noticed the difference. When Lady Agatha sits down at the piano, she makes quite enough noise for 2.
Dorian, if you could take to the stool. Same position as before.
Oh, Basil, I'm tired of sitting. And I've been thinking, this portrait, having it in my home, won't that seem awfully...
Vain?
I was going to say ostentatious.
It's just one more sitting, Dorian, and it shan't take very long.
Very well.
So, Mr. Gray, have you been in London very long?
No, barely 2 months.
Harry, could you not distract him, please?
Sorry. But you enjoy the city life?
Very much so.
Playing Chopin and Schumann in the workhouses of Whitechapel?
It is very rewarding work.
I'm sure. But you really are too charming for philanthropy, Mr. Gray.
Mm-hmm.
Far too charming. Has Basil shown you this portrait yet?
Not yet, no.
Oh, Basil, you tease. It really is his best work, you know. And I mean that quite sincerely. I told him to send it to the Grosvenor. The Academy is far too vulgar. Whenever I visit there are either so many people one can't see the paintings, or so many paintings one can't see the people, which is worse.
Harry, could you not distract him?
From what? You've got him staring at that far wall like some gout-ridden country squire. The only thing missing is the faithful bloodhound.
Harry!
Basil says he has no intention of exhibiting your painting anywhere, Mr. Gray. That once it's finished, it's yours to keep. I've asked him why, and he still hasn't given me a satisfactory answer. Do you know what he told me?
Harry,
no.
Please.
He said there's too much of him in it. Well, I told him he thinks he looks anything like that handsome young chap in the painting. He's delusional, suffering from some malady of the brain.
Harry, you're embarrassing him.
No, Basil, I'm embarrassing you.
Harry, I'd very much like to finish this painting today. Would you think it awfully rude of me if I asked you to leave?
What do you think, Mr. Gray? Should I go?
Don't mind Basil, Lord Henry. He's in one of his sulky moods. But I'd rather you stayed. Basil doesn't talk much when he paints, so I'd really appreciate some conversation. Besides, I want you to explain why I shouldn't go in for philanthropy.
Basil?
If it pleases Dorian for you to stay, then you should stay.
Ha!
But please don't distract him too much. And Dorian, don't listen to a word Harry says.
Really, why not?
Because he has a very bad influence over all his friends. Myself excluded, of course.
Oh, is that true, Lord Henry? Have you really a bad influence?
There is no such thing as a good influence, Mr. Gray. All influence is immoral.
How do you mean?
Well, to influence a man is to give him one's soul. He no longer thinks his natural thoughts, no longer burns with his natural passions. He becomes an echo of somebody else's music.
Here we go.
You see, the aim of life is self-development. To realize one's nature perfectly, that's why we're here. But nowadays, people are afraid of themselves. Their courage is gone. Oh, yes, they may be more charitable, but they feed the hungry and they clothe the beggar, while their souls are left starving and naked.
If you could just turn your head a little, Dorian. There's a good boy.
Good grief, Basil, he's not a child. In short, Mr. Gray, I believe that if one man were to live out his life completely, to give expression to every thought and reality to every dream, the world would gain such a fresh impulse of joy that we might forget all the maladies of medievalism. Even you, Mr. Gray, with your rose-red youth and rose-white boyhood. You have passions, have you not?